take you, it can grab you, it can cuddle you, it can give you what you need. And this is why I think this is so important. They're a wonderful organisation. They're a community organisation. They're called the North East Opera. And they offer an opportunities for performers of any age and all backgrounds to go and sing with them. Now, they've got a new Christmas single out, and Dave Pizarro came into the studio and he told me how it all came about with the group, himself and his journey and how he ended up on Teesside. They are fantastic. Have a listen to this.
Hey, I'm from Buffalo, New York, a steel town from the Rust Belt in America.
Quite a similarity between the Rust Belt of the USA and Teesside, isn't there? You know, steel manufacture, that thought of being possibly left behind by the modern world. And did you feel that symmetry when you came to Middlesbrough to settle here, to come and live here?
Well, in Buffalo, we've got the 33, which is a road that cuts through the center of town.
The 66, it's half.
It's like an alternate universe. So you have the most beautiful park system. We have this beautiful park, Delaware Park, that was just sliced to bits by the 33. You know, it's still a beautiful place, Buffalo. Just like Teesside is still beautiful, Middlesbrough has got just incredible guts and bones, and even the 66 right next to really amazing buildings. You know, you drive past these facades of the, you know, it's just, why did they put it there?
You do, you look back to it and you say, what were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
And so it's very similar, and also just the resilience of people in places like Buffalo and Middlesbrough.
Is it the ability to adapt?
To adapt. They're friendly places because people have a common interest. You know, people were brought to Middlesbrough, people were brought to Buffalo, you know, and there's a harmony. You know, obviously I know it changes sometimes after 10 p.m.
Sometimes.
No, you know what I mean, though. But people, it's a friendly place.
Yeah.
And I met this lass from Middlesbrough Music College.
So how did you end up at music college in the UK from Buffalo?
Well, it just was one of those things. It was cheaper for me to be an overseas student going to really high level music college, the Guildhall, than it would for me to go to just normal university back in the States.
Really?
Yes. In America, it's just really expensive. It's prohibitively expensive. So it was cheaper for me to be an overseas student. After the first few months, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to stay, but I met this woman from Middlesbrough who was the most down-to-earth person there.
Leaving the Guildhall, you know, and having such a voice that you had, is this why you set up the North East Opera? And how difficult was it to get people from Middlesbrough to buy into what you were offering?
Well, we were originally a streetwise opera. And we started, Emily and I, working for them in Newcastle. And then the founder, Matt Peacock, is actually from Martin.
Right.
Yeah, and he wanted to start something up in Middlesbrough. We were in discussion with, you know, then Welly Street, which is now Stages Academy, to do streetwise there. It was the timing of it all. And there was interest and talent, and, you know, Streetwise is a homeless charity. Their tagline is giving the homeless a voice. When we went there, which is, you know, was and still is a residential center for people who are homeless or whatever, people didn't know what to make of what we were doing until they took part. And once they heard what was happening and felt like, you know, well, I may as well give it a try, they realized what fun it is. You do a workshop, you have music. It doesn't matter that it might be opera or gospel music or folk music. It's something to do and something that's creative, and we all need those creative things. We need music. We need culture. It's just as essential as food, shelter, clothing. Even back then, there was this thing of, well, we need to be helping each other. Fast forward to the years of austerity and the pandemic, and Streetwise was doing great work on Teesside, but the pandemic, you know, really
decimated everything, didn't it?
Yeah. So we still had two groups, one at the Methodist Asylum Project and one now at the Town Hall. And Streetwise just couldn't manage it. They couldn't get people up during the pandemic to do things. And so they helped us form Northeast Opera because we have members who are wanting to continue on and make things happen despite everything.
It's a very collaborative thing that you do, and everybody seems to want to help each other because under the one thing of bringing people together under the umbrella of music.
Yeah.
And I saw you singing on the stage at the Middlesbrough Christmas light switch on. I'm like, this is just magnificent. You're working on so many different things at the moment, aren't you? How do you manage to juggle all the plates?
I don't know.
Is there enough coffee in the world?
Just about at the moment. It's a way of life, you know, doing music, and it's a lovely thing to do.
But what I find amazing with what you do, you can take a load of people that have never ever made music before. You know what the end product is because you can see it up here in your head. Do you get massive satisfaction when you get that ensemble together and they do a finished product and then they perform it on a stage? There's something clicks in their faces, in their eyes. Yeah. Do you recognise that?
Well, I mean, having gone to music college, which is by nature elitist, you kind of get drummed into you that music is all about precision and excellence and this, that, and the other. But really, it's about communication. And practice is important, but it's not the only thing. And being a virtuoso is less important than being someone who can perform. So I'm always able to kind of see that good music is something that you can just do. And classical music, there are a lot of different levels, you know, and classical music is for everyone. Not everyone has to be Pavarotti. You can be a normal person with a normal life. It is for everyone.
You are bringing that back to everyone. I'm looking at My Great Folk, which is something that you're working on.
Yeah.
What is that, and how did it come about?
There was a pilot scheme that we heard about called Know Your Neighborhood, and they were wanting to do things in the 5 poorest areas in the country. And so we kind of saw this thing of, how do you combat loneliness? How do you do something for the community and get the neighborhood kind of circulating? And so the idea came as a response to that. And we immediately thought about folk music, because we work with folk music, whether it be like gospel music or English folk music, Scottish, Irish. We also work at the Methodist Asylum Project, working with people from around the world, and we share songs from all around the world. We thought, what a good idea to kind of mix these songs together into one show. And so My Great Folk is going to be a half-hour show of folk music from around the world. Sometimes you might have 3 folk songs at a time.
Wow. So the jive bunny of folk music, really.
Yeah, so you kind of think of your ice cream sellers that were demobbed at the end of the Second World War, and then you think of the Irish who were brought over here from the steel industry, and then you might think of a Nigerian who's just been sent here recently. And sometimes it makes a lot of sense. Sometimes you learn a song from Ghana, and it happens to be in the same key as a Welsh song or an Irish, and you think, actually, those songs could go together. It's universal. And so, like, while there may be constant division and warfare going on, in various corners of the globe, that isn't who we are. Most of us want to just get on
and dance and sing.
99% of us want to get on with each other and get a groove on, boogie on down when we can.
There's something out right now, isn't it, that you've recorded? Can you tell us about it?
Well, we thought, how can we celebrate Christmas in the middle of a cost of living crisis? How can we do it? And how can we do it that is a kind of universal thing that someone might want to listen to, but how do we make it about Middlesbrough and about Teesside? You scratch the surface of Middlesbrough and you realize it's not been here that long. But when you think of the origins, it was the middle point between Durham and Whitby for pilgrims, or Durham and York, so the Middleburg, Middletown, middle whatever. And so what were pilgrims doing to get from place to place? They would sing songs. They would have some instruments with them to pass the time from place to place. And you could be anybody to be a pilgrim. You could be someone of meager means. You could be anybody. It was a way for the normal person to travel from these sites. So we thought, how can we do something that's of the people, but Christmassy? And that is Gaudete.
Gaudete, gaudete, Christus es natus, ex Maria Virgine, gaudete.
It's something that is meant to be kind of sung outside. It can be sung in a cathedral, it can be sung in a parish church, but it's a kind of thing meant to be sung outside with a tambourine, spoons.
The spoons. A good old Teesside tradition of players in Bert Draycott, the great Stu McFarlane, marvellous spoons players.
Yeah, so we thought, actually, this makes sense. We've always kind of done Gaudete in Christmas.
It was Steel Eye Span's offering. That's who made it famous, wasn't it, for Christmas?
Exactly. So we thought, how are we going to bring it into the 21st century, into this cost of living crisis thing? And my wife and I were thinking of how we were going to do a warm-up and something, and she found something that just had na 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 na, hardly very Christmassy. And then out of nowhere I was like, na 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 from Roxette, totally by accident. But you know what, they're in the same key, so it was meant to be.
Tempus adet gratiae, quod optamamus, carmina laetitia,
No one has asked for this, you know? But then again, no one has asked to be in the middle of a cost of living crisis either. So it's this kind of thing where if we weren't in the cost of living crisis, we wouldn't have come up with something so on the surface absurd.
Right. How can we listen to it? How can we find out more about the work you do? I can guarantee there'll be somebody listening to us now who'll go, I want to be part of that because it sounds brilliant.
Well, you can come and join us. You know, we meet at the town hall at the fire station from 4 to 6 on a Monday. We have an open door policy. We also meet at the Methodist Asylum Seeker Project on Borough Road on Fridays at around 11:30. And so if you want to hear music from around the world, from people who, you know, they've got stories to tell and they've got a lot to offer Middlesbrough and the country and everything. Rest assured that they didn't want to be an asylum seeker or a refugee, but they've got a lot to offer, and culturally and however else you might want to slice it. So we have a lot of fun in our session.
Have you got a social media presence? Is there somewhere?
Yep, our web page is simply northeastopera.com, and we're on most of the socials. We've got a video coming out of the Gaudete Look, and the Gaudete Look is available on every streaming service. If you want a charity to support, you could either support us by buying a single for 79 pence, or if you want to find out more about what we do and help us make more interesting music that wasn't there before, this song, the Gaudete Look, what does that mean? Well, if you see our video, you'll see.
And do you know what? I did see it. They performed on the stage at the Middlesbrough Christmas light switch on, and they blew the audience away. Gaudete, one of the finest Christmas songs. I love it. Steel Eye Span made it famous in the 70s. Great tune. And they portmanteaued it with The Look by Roxette. Absolutely brilliant. They are fantastic people, and you can be part of them, as you heard there. Just check them out. Look on the socials. Go to any search engine. Put in Northeast Opera. They meet 4 to 6 every Monday at Middlesbrough Town Hall. What's your story? Come share it with us. We're your BBC Radio Tees, you know. My email, garyp@bbc.co.uk. Okay.